All right. Go right ahead.
You don't even know.
Stand by. 45 seconds.
You know what? I don't like it when she tells me what to do.
All right, I'm leaving the bumpers to you today. The bump ins.
Glad you said that.
30 seconds.
It's a nice day for a white wedding. Did you watch Moonfall?
I don't think so.
15 seconds to launch.
Atlantis. It's supposed to be third.
Places, please. 5 seconds.
Adjust your mojo.
You are about to participate in a great adventure.
Now.
At age, 60? He's just gonna break bad?
Radio with an attitude.
This system that we love is broken.
I know that.
Do not comply.
Hey, mother.
Welcome to another 2 hours of common sense.
That liberty and justice for all is a myth.
And erratic behavior.
You want to, but you can't. And when you do, you wish you didn't.
This is your Daily Mojo.
For a Monday, welcome to the first broadcast of February 2025. It is the Daily Mojo coming at you live back from home plate in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. We have escaped the confines of the country. I got out with my life, no thanks to Cujo. That could have been bad if I. And the chickens, I do miss the chickens. And I missed Doc Kitty. Doc Kitty's here. He's much happier now that there are humans back in the fold. And you know what else I don't miss is Xfinity.
They were the bane of your existence for the last week you were there, right?
Sons of Banuchas, they cost me an entire day.
Yeah, but they were costing them $300 plus a month for who knows how long.
Yes, they were. They were. For those of you who are unaware, the whole reason for going to Nash Vegas was. Oh, by the way, Brad Staggs here, real Brad Staggs on the socials. Ron Phillips over there spinning the dials, radio style. Real Ron Phillips on the socials. And if you want to get involved in the discussion today, especially if it has to do with dog and Xfinity, I'm down for it. Yep. Use the hashtag What I Learned Today, and we will do this for the next couple of hours. So the reason we were in Nashville is that Beth Enoch's father, Nelson, passed away in December. Good grief, it's been a month.
Yeah.
Whew. So we were there trying to, again, get some things done. Her mom has, strangely enough, and has never been a smoker, has lung cancer, which is really weird.
My grandfather died of lung cancer, and he had never smoked either.
Isn't that strange?
Yeah.
Really. So anyway, so we were there trying to get some things done, trying to straighten out, as you can imagine. I mean, they were married for like 150 years. And I mean, it was, well, they were. And so, being in their 80s, he took care of most everything. And, she was, she was, I don't want to say housewife because she worked, but, she doesn't know where anything is.
Yeah.
And that's not unusual. It's a typical situation of that generation. So we're having to get things lined up and have, get the bills straightened out, that sort of thing, Social Security, all of that. And Xfinity was a freaking nightmare. They had one of the older packages on their TV and internet. It was $375 a month.
For like 100 megabits, right?
Yeah, the
pretty low end
was 105. Yeah. Oh, it was awful. The modem was powered by squirrels, and it was horrendous. Now they could have upgraded at any point, but you know how old people are. Well, but it's okay because that's why young people are here.
The bill was out of sight, out of mind.
It really was. So. one of the things that we had to do was upgrade, technically downgrade the service of Xfinity because we wanted something that actually you could down. It was like the early days of the internet when you would download a picture and it would be like one line at a time.
Oh, good night. Wow.
I see hair. That's an eyeball. And so anyway, we just wanted something that was in the 21st century. And spent an hour and a half on the phone the first day, which I think was that Thursday or Friday? Anyway, we spent at least an hour and a half on the phone, simply, just explaining, hey, we want to get rid of this old package, put the new one in place, put her name on it instead of his, because he's not going to pay the bill anymore because he's not here anymore. And as well, sorry for your loss and blah, 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 which I'm not sure I believe. I took a picture of the sign inside the Xfinity store. I did laugh out loud. I LOL'd while we were LOL live on location in Nashville. We're committed to delivering the best experience possible. A liar. Here is the primary roadblock to the best experience possible came in the form of this person.
Oh, wow.
Now, I'm going to give you a clue as to how it was dealing with this person, who you can't see but I'm going to show you, if you look closely at this person's name tag, what do you see there?
She, her, hers, Eva.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
So when you look at a name tag and you see she, her, hers, you're like, ah, shit. It's going to be one of those.
What the hell?
And it was. And it was, not only were on the phone were we told that it was, that we couldn't, let's see, what was it? On the phone, we couldn't, let's see, you're going to have to be, let's see, we changed the plan. Then I'm going to connect you with technical service. They're going to connect the plan, and then they can help you disconnect the old service and blah, blah, blah. So then after the hour and a half with one dude on the phone, we got connected to the technical service or whatever the hell it was, who then told us, no, you can't. We can't connect the new service until you get rid of the old service. Well, can you do that? No. Why'd they tell us? No, I don't know. So we go down to Xfinity because there is obviously an Xfinity store in a strip mall there. And we went down there. We were told by Eva, the manager, that you had to bring in the death certificate to cancel an account. What? Why would you have to bring in a death certificate to cancel an account? And I can't give you any new equipment because your old equipment has to be turned in first, but you can't turn that in unless you cancel the account, which you can't cancel the account unless you bring in the death certificate. I mean, it was this convoluted mess, this loop would that be misinformation or disinformation?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Where'd you go? There you go.
I tried to go to your wide shot, but it's not there. So,
did you just call me fat?
I'll fix it. Go ahead.
Anyway, so we go through all that rigmarole. The next day, we were just going to. I think this has been Saturday. The idea was after we did Saturday Morning Live was to go down to Xfinity and turn in the old equipment, get that canceled, and then get the new modem and everything, get that fired up, and we were assured that the new modem would it's easy. It's 3 easy steps. Whenever they say it's easy, 3 easy steps, be afraid, be very afraid. It was not 3 easy steps. So we. Let's see, this is after an hour and a half on the phone with them, which we were told to go in 3 different directions, none of which worked. Then Miss She, Her, Hers, which she was, nightmare. And whatever happened to customer, that's a stupid question, never mind, because customer service does not exist anymore. But it's really, the worst thing is, of course, again, the putting the sign up that says we're committed to customer service, throwing that in your face when they're obviously not. It's like, adding insult to injury. So anyway, we finally get the new modem the next day, go over, and it's on the way out of town after doing Saturday Morning Live with Jeff Fisher and Ron standing in for Not Stu. And that would have been 10 o'clock. We were done. Head over there. Hey, we should be able to get this thing knocked out in an hour. And let me think here. It was 7 hours later.
Wow.
Finally able to get the modem started, and we headed out of town. But what an absolute nightmare Xfinity was to deal with. That's why I decided that this would be a good forum. I mean, this is the one of the nice things about having this hobby. As I said, hobby is that you can, at least. And I know a lot of you might share my disdain and or distaste for Xfinity. And is Frontier or any of the rest of them any better? When it comes right down to it, customer service blows everywhere you go. And Damn It with Beaver says and that's what I said too. I said it's a being a public utility. They don't care. It's like government service.
Right.
I hate that term, government service. But it's the same thing. It's a government, basically, entity. As it's all utility companies, you're dealing with the loss of a family member, and they really need to make the process easier. I agree. Well, I wasn't even, although I did say, I have to admit, had to use the line, well, we can't, that was the other thing. You have to be on the account, so we had to add 3 people to the account just so we didn't have to drag Beth's mom down there. And I did use the line, look, she has cancer. We can't get her into the car with the IV bag at the same time. I didn't.
Wow.
What?
Wow. No, right? I mean, I agree with you. But that way they didn't have to mess with well, how did you get people added? Did you not have to go to call her?
Go back. You have to get into they wouldn't even try that at the Xfinity store. Are you kidding? That would have been far too easy had they said, "Hey, let me walk you through this on the let's sign in." No, they couldn't do that. It was so you're going to have to go and you're going to have to add somebody as a manager and blah blah blah.
Nice.
They did not. Now, what was the girl's name the next day? Michaela. She was a sweetheart. She was fabulous. What was it on the phone? I'm sure someone will remind me of her name on the phone because she was fabulous. There were 2 good people at Xfinity, one of which was Michaela.
Good.
But it's just, we've gotten to that point. Again, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but it's just so frustrating when you try to get anything done and they do anything but make it easy. And they just don't appear to care. Maybe that's it. Bethy Knott says, Sir Ratbass. Oh, she's in the chat. Huh. I guess apparently she got all of her chores done and the mopping and the cleaning are done, and she has time to dick around in the chat now. Sir Ratbastard, yes, we spent an additional hour and a half on the phone getting added to the account so we could do any of the rest. Right. Let's see, pecan pie. Paul. Anyway, it's damn it, says I had to take a death certificate to move the utilities from my dad to my mom's name. That's the if you've got older parents, do yourself a favor now,
put
sooner rather than later,
or put
not
somebody
only that,
else, yeah.
but get power of attorney. Sloan was the woman's name on the phone.
Gotcha.
And Sloan was Fabu. She really was. She was nice. She spent time walking. And Phoebe, who I had to ask 3 times what was her name because it had a slight curry accent and
a slight what accent?
She told me her name in a curry accent.
Oh, okay.
Would you like to curry on that?
Oh, okay.
But she was very sweet.
Yep.
And I said she told me her name 3 times. Could you spell that? P-H-O-E-B. Oh, Phoebe. Yes. Gotcha. Okay. What? I mean, we're not all going to understand each other, and then you add a phone line in between there. It makes things hard to understand. Right? I mean, it's all good. We, let's see here. Is this I don't know. I'm not sure that this is the Wise accepting this advertising on the program, but you know what the hell? It's money. New sponsor of the Daily MoJo here.
You want to go fishing tomorrow?
I got a colonoscopy tomorrow.
Fellas, I accidentally threw a lame party.
Okay, Ted.
They're on their way.
They're here. Ooh. You call this a party?
Cul-de-sac party.
Launch. These beers are a metaphor for an invitation.
Is that our leaf blower? Party in a sec.
You are cordially invited to the end of the cul-de-sac.
This is incredible.
Your mower smokes meat?
Oh, a smoker cuts grass.
Hell yeah.
I spent most of my money on this.
New rig? Fully custom. How many Bud Lights can you fit in that puppy?
As many Bud Lights as it takes.
A lot of Bud Lights.
This cul-de-sac's popping. Bill, get off the boat. The HOA's already breathing down my neck.
How much do you think they had to pay Peyton Manning to be in that Bud Light commercial?
I don't know. What about Post
Probably
Malone?
sizable chunk.
You think they didn't have to pay him?
Right. I mean, they spent some money on that commercial.
They did.
And here's the funny part of that is that when you start reading the comments of it on X, because this was posted by Bud Light, first comment, still not drinking it. No, my smoker cuts grass. That's funny. Cul-de-sac hates to see these boys coming. Okay, what did we learn? Hang on a minute. Let's see. View hidden replies. Because as the poster, you can choose to not have the replies show. Let's see. Ass dasses, ass dadded. A couple of fags. Fag beer with fag actors. The only thing that would have made this better is if you killed Post Malone before asking him to do this and swapped him out for Danny McBride.
Wow.
So these are two straight up fagging for Bud Lights now. How come no one's going to drink Bud Light even because of this? The commercial seems like it was designed by Nazi, band Fox Super Bowl advertisers. So no one is going to be drinking Bud Light, even if you put Peyton Manning in a commercial. Luke says, "Don't care. You suck. No one should ever drink your brand again. You did this to yourself." Man.
You may think that you're woke, but compared to Google, you're only diet woke.
Diet woke. It's...
Wow.
Do you think Bud Light ever recovers?
I don't know, dude. For the rest of time, that photo will be associated with Bud Light.
It really will.
Yeah.
This is the price of being DEI, of being woke, of trying to shove things down people's throats that they don't want. Again, this all goes back to customer service, does it not? Try being grateful to your customers and your customer base. Try, if you want to broaden your customer base, there's not a problem with that. But try not taking the rest of your loyal customer base and flushing them down the toilet in the process. I don't think that's hateful. I think that's just, it's common sense. Do you hate Dylan Mulvaney?
No, I don't even know Dylan.
I don't either.
I don't care to know him, or her, or him, whatever.
I don't, Dylan Mulvaney, I swear, is still, I'm not going to be surprised when Dylan Mulvaney one day goes, ta-da, gotcha, and takes off the wig and becomes Dylan Mulvaney. That's their real name, right?
I have no idea.
Dylan Mulvaney. Yeah. Fine. Boo, you do you, boo. Don't care. Don't care. But Bud Light, in trying to appear that they're inclusive and they shot themselves with a double-barreled shotgun right in the nutsack. They really did, and I don't think that they are. I don't think they're coming back from this. It just full breeze. Remember when Bud Light tried to sell beer to American men with lawn tractors using an effervescent man pretending to be a woman? I wasn't drinking it before that idiotic decision, but just because the beer sucks. I never thought it sucked. I mean, it was just, I don't like diet beer.
Stinky Biscuit says, "Oh, I bet I know someone who will drink it. That would be David Hogg, now the masculine face of the DNC."
Right. Oh, did you see the what was the
David Hogg, the assistant DNC chair? Are you kidding me right now?
Is he really?
Yeah. Voted in this weekend.
Wow. The it was a Truth on Truth Social, and it was James Woods retweeted it. It was David Hogg said, "Remind me again, how many AR-15s did Jesus have?" And somebody responded, "Not enough to keep his government from killing him."
Yep.
Thank you.
Fact.
What happened to common sense? What happened, well, to a lot of things in this world? However, I'm going to say things are shifting. Do you feel it?
I do.
I think I really do. I feel a shifting.
Just watch the news every day. You can tell.
Yeah, and I'll let you in on a little inside baseball on something that Keith Malinak and I were going to do this week, because later on this week I'll be on Barfley. That'd be Thursday, wouldn't it? And I'll tell you what we were going to do. I don't think I'm letting any cats out of the bag, but we'll see. First, if you are looking for a deal, and let me just tell you, and I'm wearing them right now. I'm wearing the men's moccasin slippers because, you know, I'm manly and stuff. But the all-season women's moccasin slippers right now over at MojoMyPillow.com are on sale for $25, and we are all about the sales here at the Daily Mojo. I went into Target this past week. I can't help it. It's a disease. I couldn't help but going back to the end cap and just looking at what's on sale. And
yeah.
I don't need one of those. I don't need a boom box, but it's only $25. I didn't buy it. I stood my ground. I'm Brad, and I have a problem with buying stuff I don't need. Hi, Brad. But right now, if you want to, and this is the time to do it, if you are looking, because these are the nice, I think, are these the fur-lined ones?
I think so.
They're comfortable, and I wore mine all the way home. Can I even show? Can you see that?
Here. There we go. Yep.
I've got mine on right now. My pillow, hopefully I don't yank my head off doing this. But I wore them out just like they were like regular shoes, because I am that confident, and I don't mind people seeing, oh, look at the old guy who wore his shoes with socks in public, but they're comfortable and they're $25, and that's another part of our reality shifting. You can wear whatever the hell you want outside now. One good thing that came from COVID. That and people trying to stay 6 feet away from you. That's the other good thing. But go to MojoMyPillow.com right now. Use the promo code MOJO50, and you can get these all-season women's moccasin slippers for only $25. And that is one heck of a deal. Get it today at MojoMyPillow.com.
Stupidity is not a competition.
I've now been in 50...
Unless you're a politician.
7 states. I think 1 left to go.
The Daily Mojo. The Daily Mojo.
You know, a lot of people are still questioning things that went on. We have the other plane crashes. We talked a little bit about them on Saturday. We had the one in Philly. What was the one in California? I'm not even sure. It was one in California, right?
I think so. I know that we had a jet crash. It was an F-22 or an F-35. I saw that. I don't know how recent that was. I just remember seeing it last week. We had another light aircraft crash, which those happen quite honestly all the time. But because it happened with these other 2 large commuter planes, that's...
Wait, oh, no, according to this...
We had another one catch on fire in Houston yesterday.
Yeah.
During takeoff, I think.
Here's the one I just pulled up from California. Highway patrol officer pulls pilot from fiery plane crash in Santa Barbara.
Which was a small
plane.
Small plane.
Right. But again, all of these seem to be, happening suddenly. And,
and you talk about conspiracy theorists coming out of the woodwork when stuff like this
absolutely
happens.
Again, you can't help but in your mind, you start thinking you're connecting dots. And there may or may not be dots to connect. I don't know. There's new video on the plane crash, the plane helo crash in D.C. There's a new angle on that one, and it is, let's see here. Just the new angle there. Let me show you first the luckiest dude on planet Earth. I know. You know what? Right before the break, I said I was going to do something. What was it?
Yeah, I don't know.
One job.
Yeah, I know. Well, not really one job, but this is a lucky dude because wow. See the old man in the top right, folks? Watch his hat.
Well, they'll show the close-up of it in just a second.
This was crazy.
He is, they're all sitting in a Zynga.
That probably did hit him in the head, right?
Oh, yeah. It did. Yeah, he's feeling it. He's
They're saying that was a piece of the aircraft after it exploded.
It could have been anything. I mean, it could have been the aircraft. It could have
rocks.
Been piece of glass from the window. Obviously, they're inside.
Everybody ducking and covering and leaving that old woman in the booth.
Right. Every man to himself. Dude on the floor, very bottom of your screen. If I can catch it on camera, because it's right at the very end. He thinks it's being fired. See the guy down there at the very bottom?
Yeah.
Watch what he does here.
Oh, shoot.
He doesn't shoot, but he does pull out the gun.
Wow.
So he thinks that they're...
Yeah.
Which, do you blame him?
I do not.
Nope.
Not at all.
And so there are a lot of people, and there's that close-up of him getting hitting the head. A lot of people with their conspiracy theories. I don't blame people for having them because of all of the crap we've been through. There's a lot of... There's a reason... Or there is let me put it there. There's justification for questioning whether or not these things are connected.
I remember what you were going to talk about.
What was it?
What you and Keith are going to do later.
Oh, that's right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks to Misty, by the way.
Thank you, Misty. Misty, you're hired. Just tell him to get out.
Get on up here right now. Come on.
Yep. We were going to do we were going to recite the speech of a reverend that was not very complimentary of this of the United States.
Really?
And I've got to talk to Keith later this morning, so I don't want to again completely give it away, but we decided to change that a little bit because of the paradigm shift that I feel is happening, and he does as well, that is happening in this country, that we have a sense that things are starting to change for the better. I mean, don't you?
Here's what I have a sense of. Yes, to answer your question, but I have more of a sense that the administration is going above and beyond to try to be more transparent.
Yes.
I mean, Hexeth is on social medias every day going, here's what we're doing today. The new, and yes, is it Sean Duffy? That's the...
Transportation Secretary.
He's out there now going, yep, here's what we're doing. You've got a lot more people. Of course, Elon's out there talking about what he's doing and what he's finding that's shocking people. Trump is very available to the press these days. It's a little bit of a shift.
They don't even know what to do with him because he's so available.
They're like, we got to protect the American public from all this overwhelming information Trump's giving us.
It's crazy. We had for the past 4 years a president who wouldn't answer a damn question. And remember, that same president. Remember when he was sitting? I think they were in the White House, and they left his mic hot, and he called Peter Doocy a dumb son of a bitch.
Dumb son of a bitch. Yep.
And again, had that been Trump, that would have been headlines.
Oh yeah. Trump
calls free press dumb sons of bitches. But, because it was Biden, it was whatever. It's, Peter Doocy is a dumb son of a bitch. But you've got a guy now in there who is, like you said, transparent, is available to the press, will answer questions. He's probably willing to stay there longer than the press is willing to stay there at a press conference. You got any more questions? Come on.
Well, no, I mean, he's letting them ask him questions while he's signing EOs in the Oval Office. Bring them in. Let's talk.
Wait, you mean he can write and talk at the same time? This is insane. What kind of a superhuman is this man? And then you have this story over at Zero Hedge. The USAID website goes dark as Trump reportedly plans to shift agency under the State Department. So USAID.gov is the website where money is.
And they sent an email out late last night and told everybody to stay at home unless you were,
Here's what happens when you try to go to USAID.gov. Bummer.
Yep.
Site cannot be reached. It's not there. They shut it down.
It's gone.
We questioned, and I did out loud. I said, I hope Trump gets in there, and when he does, I hope that he does what he said he would do, stop spending so damn much money.
Yep.
Stop the crazy woke crap. And he has done and stop a bunch of illegals from crossing into the country. He has done all three and done it amazingly effectively. Shut the gate at the southern border, turned off the money spigot, and cutting out the woke crap that was killing us. Again, we shouldn't give a damn, and I don't give a damn what is swinging between your legs. I don't care what color your skin is. I don't care who or what you sleep with. I don't care what you sew on or lop off of you. If you are hired to do a job, you better be good at it. That's it. If you're really good at your job, you have a government job especially, you're really good at your job, the rest of it doesn't matter. Now, obviously, there are limits. Ironically, we don't want real pedophiles running around in government. Unfortunately, I think there are a number of those. I don't think I get any arguments on that. But that's all we ask. Common sense. If you're hired to do a job, do it well. Don't get hired and don't try to get hired simply because of who you sleep with. That's stupid if you think about it.
And don't hire in for a job and then think, well, they had to hire me, so I can just fart around with it. I mean, they had to hire me, DEI, that kind of shit.
Right. And all they did was rename affirmative action.
Yeah.
That's all they did. And affirmative action is offensive, quite frankly. And yeah, I choose to be offended at that one because all it did, what do they call it? The low expectations of soft racism. Is that how I can't ever remember that quote. I think that's what it is. This was the other video real quick.
Oh my God. Please get us out of here.
This is the plane that was on fire in Houston. It's a commercial jet. Here's the weird thing. If you're on that jet like this woman is, and everybody outside the plane, and they're like, "Hey, everybody, just stay seated." Well, aren't you like busting out a window trying to? Wouldn't you be opening the emergency exit at that point?
Yeah. I mean,
the plane's on fire.
They sit you in that row for a reason.
Right. I mean, can you do that without the stewardess telling you to do it?
Look, in an emergency like that, and you're still on the ground, the plane comes to a stop, and you pop that door open, and they haven't told you to do it, what are they going to do? What are they going to do?
Put you in prison?
Why? Was it or was it not an emergency?
I agree with you.
Was your life in danger or not? Who's to say?
And I completely agree. And I think, again, if it was a justice system that I had faith in, I would say, yeah. I mean, they won't hold me as or accuse me of being a felon because it makes sense. If I look out and see the wing of the plane is on fire and we're all trapped inside. By the way, the wing is where the gas tank is.
Yep.
I don't think a lot of people know that.
Nope.
What? The wing is the gas. You got two big old gas tanks there, and if one is on fire, I want out, and I want out now. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to think about it. I want the hell out of the airplane. And if I'm sitting in the exit row and I see a fire on the wing, I think I'm opening that door. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would struggle to make the decision to open the door if we were moving. But as soon as we come to a stop, I'm opening the door.
Jeff, he sent me a text that we believed you. No need to lift your leg to try to show us your slippers.
But you did.
I went to the extra
and it's on camera. And it's on camera
to show you my slippers.
Look, if you're going to do a job, Brad, do it all the way. Do good at it.
Thank you. And I did. I went all the way. By the way, if something flies out of my mouth this morning, it's only a tooth. And hopefully it's not going to do that.
Because he super glued it in this morning.
I did super glue it back in. I have to get it fixed, as I knew it was going to happen.
And if it does fly out, folks, it's going to be a brilliant one because it's his front tooth. It's going to be great.
It's going to be good. It's going to be really, really good if it does. It'll be a YouTube moment. So anyway, be watching for that. That'll be exciting. Alaska last week, military chemical plant fire in Cali. Is there a chemical plant out there that's on fire?
It wouldn't surprise me.
It's California, after all. So we're seeing things. We're seeing our reality again changing, I think. I think we're seeing real progress, and that's a good thing. We're also seeing maybe some accountability. I would like to think we are. This is a drag queen at a gay bar in Nolans, simulating shooting the president. You can't do that. I mean,
that is a jailable offense right there. Yep.
Isn't it? I mean, that seems like somebody threatening the president of the United States is a federal felony under United States Code Title 18, Section 871. It consists of knowingly and willfully mailing or otherwise making, quote, any threat to take the life of, to kidnap, or to inflict great bodily harm upon the president of the United States. Also includes presidential candidates, vice presidents, former presidents. Should this be something we are concerned with? Do we want to start going after people like this who,
oh, hell yeah. In a heartbeat. And why someone, I almost said something wrong. I almost said, why would someone in their right mind do some stupid shit like that? Then it dawned on me, he's probably not in his right mind. Or she.
On the one half of me says, look, it's a show. It's the Kathy Griffin thing holding up the Trump head. But is that not how we got here? Isn't that the part of the problem? We got here by being too damn tolerant. By letting too many of these things slide, and they're just a bunch of talk. And then what do we have? We have somebody actually shooting the president or the candidate Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. And again, I'm taking all of the accusations that we constantly, and I say we. Am I conservative? I don't even know what the hell I am. I believe in common sense. I believe in human life. I believe that there are two genders. Let's see. I believe in, did I mention common sense?
Yeah.
Whatever the hell I am. Libertarian. You do you, I'll do me. Occasionally we can get together and you do me and I'll do you. But I like to believe that, I'm just your average middle of the road type person, not extreme one way or the other. We're tolerant. We put up with a lot of crap. It's like, look, sticks and stones. To me, that's like sticks and stones. All right, you want to play like you're shooting the president, in a bar in Nolans? Do I care? But that's how we got here, is being too tolerant and letting these things happen.
Yeah.
And maybe, just maybe, it's time to say, all right, enough of this shit.
Now, ask me if I would be okay with that if that was Biden on the screen. Hell no.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't be. No.
I like to believe that I am fair enough to say no. This goes for both sides of the aisle. And the United States Attorney for the District of Columbia sent a letter to Chuck Schumer, which I found quite. Have you seen the letter yet?
I saw a letter. I have not read it. It has to do with his threats against the Supreme Court, right?
Yes, it does. We'll get to that in just a second. First, it is time for Big Mike and Phil, not necessarily in that order. Daily Mojo.
This is Phil Bell on the Daily Mojo with your morning update. One of the socialists who follows my Facebook page was apoplectic the other day because President Trump and the rest of the government have said we are no longer going to recognize people for immutable characteristics like race and sex, and we're going to start recognizing people for their achievements. And I love it. See, it's Black History Month, and I got to be candid with you. Even though I'm black, I hate Black History Month. And do you know why? I hate it because it is a special classification for people, not because of what they've accomplished, but because of things they didn't accomplish. I did not make myself black. I did not make myself male. What I can do is make myself successful. And once I make myself successful and continue to do it for a long time, then I should be recognized. I should be recognized if I manage to get married and become a father and raise a good family. I should be recognized if I have long-term success in my work or my business. I should be recognized if I help others of my own account, not leaning on the government or otherwise. Those are the sort of things that you should be recognized for. Heck, you should be recognized if you're like President Trump and get elected president twice. Actually, 3 times, but you get the point. That is what we should recognize people for. No longer, oh, you're black. Oh, you're a woman. Oh, you're this. Oh, you're that. That was always dumb. And thank God it is over. Now, what I want you to do in the comments is let us know what you think about this. And I want you to download the Daily Mojo smartphone app and enable notifications. That way you'll be up to date on the latest craziness and good stuff coming out of Washington, D.C., and you'll know how to share it with others. We'll see you down the line, and thanks for choosing the Daily Mojo.
Phil Bell's Morning Update is only on the DailyMojo.com. If you're offended, you're listening wrong. The Daily Mojo.
Let's see, over in the Rumble chat room, Bugs Mom says the rodeo clown guy who wore the Barack face mask got into trouble. I don't remember that one. Do you? Lady Wrangler, we need very strict punishments for these folks. Again, it's to deter, and that's what punishment is supposed to be all about, is a deterrent to the crime. Thank you to everybody over in the Zoom room. We've got Cats and SpongeBob, and is that a Sly Fox? Who's in there?
Let's see. We got Lep over in the top left. Lep's on location today, looks like, and then Whiskey in the middle. Good morning, everybody. Timmy on the road. Free range prisoner John's on the road doing his thing with his joystick. Beaver's there, 209.
Whoa.
Misinformation in Wisconsin, Jacko.
Whoa, hang on now. I don't know what he's doing with his joystick, but it looks like fun.
He put googly eyes on it. I love that.
Everybody needs to have googly eyes on their joystick. Over in the on the X, let's see here, slightly venomous Kirk, I believe. Yeah, you still got that up there. I just couldn't see it. I disagree, Bard and producer Ron. I'm 100% First Amendment absolutist. I don't care which side says it. It may be douchey to say and a major Rule 1 violation, but I believe you have the absolute right to say it. Except that it is a violation. I mean, it's a law.
It's a law. Yeah. It's like you can't
threat
yell
against the president.
You can't.
Well, you can yell fire in a crowded theater.
No, I'm talking about bomb in an airport.
Bomb. Yeah. Has that one been tested?
I don't know.
I have to come back to that.
But it is a law that you can't threaten the president.
Yeah. So, but I'm with you. I mean, it's I'm all about free speech, but if it's a law, we need to change the law if we want to allow people to get out there and threaten the president, which seems a little crazy. But that's just me. And I'll just leave it at it's a crazy world. Speaking of threats, Chuck E. Schumer.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch. I want to tell you, Kavanaugh. You have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
All right, what does that even mean?
Exactly.
What does that mean? And that is what Edward R. Martin Jr., United States Attorney, would like to know. Is this a time waster, or is this something that we should be
Hold their
pursuing,
feet to the fire.
Senator?
Hold their feet to the fire.
Yep. Dear Senator Schumer, as United States Attorney for District of Columbia, I receive requests for information clarification. I take these requests seriously and act on them with letters like this one you are receiving. At this time, I respectfully request that you clarify your comments from March 4th, 2020. Good Lord, that's 5 years ago. Your comments were at a private rally off the campus of the U.S. Capitol. You made them clearly and in a way that many found threatening. Your exact words were, quote, I want to tell you, Gorsuch, well, you heard them because we just played them. We take these threats against public officials very seriously. I look forward to your cooperation with my letter of inquiry after request. Should you have further questions regarding this matter, please do not hesitate to call my office or schedule a time to meet in person. Thank you. All the best. Have a nice day. Somebody did criticize the tone
of the letter.
B. Sam 7. Yeah. Why didn't they kick his door in, let his pets out of the house, terrorize his family, and search his underwear drawer? All my best. What the hell? Did he send donuts with the letter?
That's a great question.
I understand.
Actually.
I understand the frustration and the anger there too. I get it. At the very least, what this requires, I think, Chuck U. Schumer to do is to come out and say, well, I didn't mean it. His explanation, this actually may be brilliant, because his explanation, if it's one of those, well, we all say things or we do things like that aren't necessarily, because is what he did any different than what the people at January 6th who spoke up said? That they believed that the election was stolen. They were expressing
displeasure,
displeasure, anger at their government that they thought was cheating them. Come on, the trespassing crap is just stupid. And so by his having to explain that, sometimes we say things when we're angry. I didn't mean we were going to be, hunting down Gorsuch and Kavanaugh and, chopping their heads out. That's not what I meant. Oh, you mean people can say things and not necessarily mean. See?
Well, Hakeem Jeffries, this last week, what did he say? He said, we're going to take it to the street. We're going to fight them in the streets. And people are losing their minds about it. It's free speech. I get that. Say it if you're going to say it. If you take action on it, though, that's going to be a problem. And look, as much as I hate this woman, Maxine Waters, she did that to Trump. Or was it Trump? No, it was just the Republicans. Go to where they're eating. Go to where they're at.
Yeah. Don't let them rest. And here's the other problem with that. As you said, with Hakeem Jeffries saying, hey, we're going to take it to the streets. This is in L.A. These are all of the illegals down there marching, and it's an anti-ICE demonstration. They've been throwing objects at police officers, according to news reports. Authorities have declared the gathering an unlawful assembly.
What did they do, a self-roundup? That's crazy.
Right.
Let's put ourselves all in one place.
Right. And again, the responses to this on the social media, this is why Trump was right to crack down on illegal immigration. If your first action in this country is to break the law, why should we trust you to respect any of our laws? We've got, and hopefully we're seeing the beginnings of trying to wind down the chaos that we have been putting up with in the United States of America. Carissa says, unlawful assembly, it's effing illegals blocking a roadway. Deport them now. I don't disagree. Again, the freedom isn't free.
Yeah.
We all know it cost $1.05. But it's time that we got some things cleaned up. It's time that we got our house in order, which is apparently what the president is doing, thankfully. In the Daily MoJo chat room, Freebie38 said there was a fire on a plane in South Korea this weekend as well. Is it all coincidence? Is it just that we're just seeing these things all happening at the same time and we're, again, trying to draw those lines? I don't know. Audrey says, we get ignored a lot over here. No one ignores you, Audrey. I'm not ignoring you. Release the whirlwind. Did he fart? Hey-oh. Hold on a second. That deserved
Back on the Schumer thing, DM says, wait, we're addressing threats that are 5 years old? What a waste of our tax dollars.
Is that what Schumer said?
No, that's what DM said.
Oh, DM. Right.
Back on the Schumer issue.
Yeah. Oh, right. Gotcha. No, but again, if this is not so much, I think, at least my opinion, to address that threat that's 5 years old as much as it is make him explain it, because his explanation can be used in essence against him when they start saying that people who said things at the Capitol.
Right.
If Chuck U. Schumer can get away with saying, hey, we're going to release the world, speaking in hyperbole, then that kind of opens the door to excusing a lot of other hyperbole. Does it not?
It does.
Just my opinion. If you haven't downloaded the Daily MoJo app, please do so at thedailymojo.com. I was reading a note from, I'm just going to call her DHS because she
DHS
works at she works at DHS. I laugh every time I see those nicotine signs, because I mentioned the nicotine signs that are at every place. And I guess they're everywhere, because I saw one in Texas. You've seen them, right?
I saw one on a QT here. It's the Philip Morris sign.
Yeah. And they're just, they're everywhere. Federal, and he even says at the top, a federal court has ordered R.J. Reynolds Tobacco and Philip Morris USA to state many smokers switch to low tar and light cigarettes rather than quitting because they think low tar and light cigarettes are less harmful. They are not. Thank you. If you don't know that cigarettes are bad for you by now, they probably aren't going to help. And it was as of July 1st, 2023, that let's see, was it the Justice Department who made them put these signs up? The signs are a final step in implementing the corrective statements the tobacco companies were first ordered to make in '06. when a federal judge ruled that the companies violated civil racketeering laws and lied to the public for decades about the health risks and addictiveness of cigarettes and their marketing to children. Which, let's not forget, the federal government was complicit and a partner in doing. For crying out loud. Yeah, and that's the other thing is these politicians and DC as a whole, they get up there, and it is a whole, if you know what I'm saying, and I think you do. Hey! They get up there and they start getting all holier than thou and pretending that they give a damn about your health. Reminder, they don't. Another scene from L.A., the streets thereof. This is anti-ICE and this is actually in Dallas. Excuse me. This is in our lovely town.
Yeah, this is
here.
Dallas.
Yeah. So they're downtown. Whose streets? Our streets. Really? And again, I support your right to wear whatever ugly scarf you're wearing, but why do you have your whole face covered up? What are you worried about? Wondering, asking for a friend. This is from the X account, Brendan Gutenschwager, BG on the scene. Not like one of the Bee Gees, but you know what I'm saying. The responses to this tweet are also... when was this? Sunday?
Saturday or Sunday? Yeah.
I don't get to downtown Dallas very often because downtown...
there were a lot of them. They did this in L.A. too, closed down the 101.
Yeah, that's what we saw. Where they were throwing stuff at the cops there in that last video.
Yeah.
John Tarr says, thank you, Biden, for giving illegals the idea that they are entitled to be here despite our laws, elections, and regulations. Right?
Yeah.
It's time to clean this stuff up. It's time that people who are have a total disregard for our laws, and the immigration laws, the whole system needs to be changed.
Without a doubt. Yep.
It's cumbersome. It takes far too much time. It takes years to do it legally. I have friends who married people who were from another country, and it took years.
And look, do you believe that it should take some amount of effort to become a U.S. citizen?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I do too. Do I think it should take 10 years? No.
It shouldn't. Anything worth doing, anything worth having is worth working for.
I mean, you go to college for 4 years. Maybe it should take 3 to 4 years, education, background screening, whatever the case may be.
Right.
But do it the right way. Do it the right way.
And hopefully in such a way that you, and don't come here just wanting to get welfare. I'm not saying that that's what everybody who comes to this country wants to do, but when you start handing the stuff out, and let's not fool ourselves in thinking that this is these are Democrats or Republicans, because both sides have done it for decades, trying to get credit so that when this giant group of people gets here, they're all grateful to, we love the Democrats, we love the Republicans. Whoever let them in. This has been going on for decades just to try to get this as a giant voting block. And that has to stop too. And that's a problem within D.C., which, again, Donald Trump appears to be working to correct that. Now, we are not going to let up on our pressure. So far, though, he seems to be doing what he said he would do. So far.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. This is fun. If you like Billy Idol. And who doesn't like Billy Idol? Don't you like Billy Idol?
I like Billy Idol.
Billy Idol. First, though, our sponsor partner, this portion of the program, is preparewithmojo50.com. Right now, the deal of the month, I guess, is still the 4-week emergency food supply. You can get it for $197. That is $50 off the normally low price of $247. Let's just call it $250. Let's just call it $250 and $200. I know marketing and all that stuff, and people, you're more if you price something in $19.95, they're more like, let's call a spade, shall we? Usually $250, it's now $200. You're going to save $50, and you have your emergency food supply started. And it's again a good idea. It doesn't have to be a disaster, and this could be used in times of financial problems. You don't have enough money to get groceries, whatever it is, until things get really back on the right track. Just have an emergency plan. Have something set aside so that you are not wondering where your next meal is coming from. And you can do that at preparewithmojo50.com and get your emergency food right now. Just a reminder, this is what Billy Idol used to look like.
Thanks for being here. Nice to see you. You know, people at home looking at us right now are saying to themselves, those two guys don't hang around together.
That's funny.
That's not really what I heard, David.
That's funny. So there's Billy Idol, because I had to go back and look too, but let me just show you. This is, I think, a genius commercial.
Order for Billy? White mocha.
Cheers.
Yeah. It's a nice day for a white mocha.
That's Matt.
What did you just say?
That's Matt Rife.
What did you just say?
It's a nice day for a white mocha.
I'm telling you, Steve, most bizarre thing happened today.
Fresh ground pepper.
Yes, I was in this coffee shop and this barista. Yes, this barista kept saying.
More.
Yeah, should we get these to go?
Where did you find the inspiration for your new book?
Well, I looked all over the world and there's every type of girl.
If you're just joining us,
My opponent's got no human grace. He's eyes without effect.
Tonight's win took sweat. Sweat.
Everywhere I go, I see him, I hear him. I can't help but feel that it's some kind of sign.
What kind of sign?
Well, I don't know. What do you think?
Perhaps it's a nice day to tour again. It's a nice day.
Tour again.
Right?
The people.
Billy, we're the only two people in this room.
That is one of the best commercials I think I've
Billy
ever seen.
Idol and Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. You can't go wrong.
Tickets are on sale right now.
The Daily Mojo.
It is the Daily Mojo for Monday. I was about to say it's July 3rd. It's not. It's only February 3rd.
That's correct.
Year of our Lord 2025. I want to welcome a special guest to the program, another former prisoner of the state, a political prisoner, a political hostage, if you will. Jessica Watkins joins us right now from an undisclosed location. Jessica, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing okay. I bet the sweet taste and sweet smell of freedom are doing okay for you, huh?
Oh yeah, can't complain, sir. Good to hear Billy Idol again.
Exactly. And don't ever call me sir. We can't be friends. It's just Brad.
It's habit, isn't it, Jessica?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't you worry about it at all.
So, Jessica was, how long were you in the D.C. gulag, Jessica?
Well, I did 2.5 years in the DC Gulag. I I left there August 14th of 2023. And then I went to the federal prisons, obviously.
You were with the Oath Keepers, a member of the Oath Keepers, correct?
Yes, sir. I was a medic for them.
On January 6th, you were at the Capitol, January 6th, 2021, and you ended up being sentenced to 8.5 years in federal prison for your behavior, for your actions on January 6th that day. Now, you are, let me see if I can quote this. I'm going to get the correct quote. My actions and my behaviors that fateful day were wrong, and as I now understand, criminal violence is never the answer. Do you think, were you violent that day? Were you you still think you were a criminal that day for being at the Capitol?
For being there, no. What I was referring to when I made that statement, that was in my sentencing, actually. There was a point where we were in a hallway, we were chanting slogans and so forth. It's not what I went there to do. I lost objectivity. I shouldn't have been getting swept up. I should have maintained my professional demeanor, I suppose, and instead of getting swept up in the hype of everything. So I realized now that the officers were trying to come down that hallway and respond to the Capitol situation, and we were in their way. And that's a violation of a civil disorder statute. I looked my jury dead in the face and I said, hey, look, I shouldn't have done this. Like, I shouldn't have been in this hallway. But I didn't behave violently there. I understand that was I shouldn't have done that. But at the end of the day, I wasn't there to hurt anyone. I wasn't there to, I was there as a man.
Why were you there? I mean, as a medic, but why did you decide to go to the Capitol on January 6th, other than, in your role as a medic, or was that it?
That was really it. So during the riots in 2020 is what drove me to join the Oath Keepers to help them out with protecting businesses. We had a bunch of minority-owned businesses. There was this Vietnam couple that had come from Vietnam during the war. They were escaping the Gulf of Tonkin, and they were accosted by pirates and all sorts of things. So they came to America as immigrants. They started up a Chinese restaurant, and the Black Lives Matter crowd was trying to burn it down. And so they asked, hey, can you come protect our business? So a bunch of me and the Oath Keepers, we went out there, and, I was the medic for them too. And so we went out there and protected this business, and, the BLM mob, they were threatening to burn his business down. They were threatening to burn down the gas station and all sorts of things. So that's what got me involved with the Oath Keepers, is just protective details. And we can interact with the crowd of BLM protesters and be like, hey, look, just maintain your, cool, behave peacefully and we won't have a problem.
Jessica, were you a medic in the military? Is that how you got into doing that kind of work?
Actually, I was a paratrooper in the military. I was in 1st Battalion, 75th Rangers. No, I was a medic in the fire department. I was an EMT.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I did 4 years.
Ron, I wonder if Jessica knows Robin. Robin was a paratrooper as well, right, Ron?
Yes, I think so.
Special Forces.
Yeah.
Army.
Yeah.
We have a friend who was also a paratrooper. So you were a paratrooper in the service. When were you in the service?
That was 2001. I did 3 years. So it was 2001 through basically 2004 almost.
Good grief. That was 20. Does it seem like 20 years ago?
It does, actually.
Well, a lot of stuff has taken place in those 20 years, right?
A lot, yeah. I was actually in airborne school. I was in airborne school when the Twin Towers came down, actually, and which is what drove me to join the Rangers. We had a Ranger recruiter come out and said, hey, listen, we're going to war. Who wants in? We need Rangers now. And so I was like, yeah, sign me up. I'm in. And then about a little less than a year later, I was in Afghanistan fighting with them. And the deployments were shorter back then. But.
Well, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but what do you still believe the narrative on 9/11?
No.
I know. I know.
That's as good as answer as any, I guess. I mean, nobody really does.
Well, that's the
I can't
thing
tell you
is
what
that
did happen, but I can tell you what I don't think happened. Like,
right. That's where I am. I think that's where Ron is, that we, over the past, now it's going on 10 years, I guess, so much has happened that's opened our eyes that I'm questioning everything that I've been told over the past 30 years. I don't know what to believe anymore. It's a sad state of affairs when you cannot believe your own government. Would you agree?
I completely agree. Like, our government is there to protect us. We need to believe it. We need to have faith in it, and I think that's what January 6th is shaking a lot of the faith in too. They're like, is this another 9/11 type situation?
Right. So, all right. So back on January 6th, when you go to the Capitol, you were there with the Oath Keepers as a medic. Did you arrive with them as a group, or did you meet up with them there? How kind of describe that day?
Sure. We actually had a contract. We provide security for VIPs. So we had Roger Stone, Ali Alexander, a bunch of podcasters, YouTube personalities. We had congressmen who we were going to be escorting from the Ellipse at the president's speech to the Capitol. We had a permit for Area 8 on the Capitol grounds. There was a stage built, sound equipment. Like, we had the lineup. There was brochures that were being distributed online. So it was like a well-organized thing. Capitol Police signed off on it. We had the First Amendment permit to be there. And then so the Oath Keepers were to escort the congressmen and the VIPs from the Ellipse to the Capitol to give those speeches. And so we did that. We were in one of the front rows when the president spoke at the Ellipse, that famous speech he gave. And things got kind of a little wonky, so we didn't end up escorting the congressmen like we thought we were going to. I suspect that's probably because the riot was already ongoing and we had no idea about it. But at the time, we were like, okay, well, they're not coming, so we'll take what VIPs and we've got and we'll escort them to the Capitol. So we did that on camera, and we got there. I had a radio app I was using, and I was talking about, like, we're just, we're sticking together, we're sticking to the plan, and they used that against me in like every indictment and the January 6th Select Committee. Everywhere you heard this thing, we're sticking to the plan, but the plan was just to escort our people to give their speeches. It had nothing to do with what was going on January 6th. We had no idea that was going to happen. And so we got there and we dropped off our people, and then we're like, okay, well, I guess that's it. Like, this is happening, so let's go check it out. And we didn't breach any barricades. People are already in the building before we even got there, and we didn't know any of that. And so we walked right up the front stairs. There's a famous video of all of us Oath Keepers walking single file up the stairs, and they cut it right there. They don't like to show you the full video where we turn around and we're smoking cigarettes and we're singing the national anthem. And, they don't like to show you that part. They just show the video of us going up the stairs, and they're like, look at this dangerous, scary breach. And that's not what it was.
Right. Did they open the door for you?
Well, when we went up there, the doors were already open, or at least,
Okay.
as far as I could see. So, we went in and we just followed everyone. It was like a Black Friday moment, is what I called it in trial.
Well, so you walk in this door. Had you been stopped? Had your progress been impeded in any way during your walk to the Capitol? Was there any police resistance to what you were doing? Anything like that?
Nothing. In fact, when we first got on Capitol grounds, there was a little line of like riot police there, and they were just standing there with their little sticks, just in their gear. Just they looked bored, and so we're like, "Hey, look, they brought riot police. Why? Like, what's the point?" Like, but anyway, that was the only cops I saw when we went through the door. There was no officers anywhere we could see, and it was just the doors opened up and everybody just went in, and so it was like, "Oh shit, let's go check it out, guys."
And so you go in, and it's again, you're surprised because you see the riot police. Was there any indication at that point? Had you seen any violent behavior? It's my understanding anyway, because I've spoken with Nick Searcy about this before, who was he was also there, that on one side of the Capitol it was almost like a tourist event, just very calm, quiet, people milling around. On the other side, there was, there were some clashes, some violent clashes. Was where you were, what was the general feeling in that area of the Capitol?
So everything that's famous from the videos that you see are all on the West Terrace, the lower West Terrace. I was on the East Steps. There was no violence of any kind there by the time we got there. There was a point where people were being pepper spraying police officers up on top of those stairs. That was a good 10, 15 minutes before we got there. So we didn't witness that. So we didn't see that, but that lasted for less than a minute. So, but other than that, there was really no violence up there. There was one person who had smashed out Capitol windows. They actually charged the Oath Keepers with that. But it happened 30 minutes before we got there.
Hey, Jessica. Go ahead, Brad.
Go ahead,
sorry. I was just going to ask, you were there with both Stuart Rhodes and Kelly Meggs, correct?
No, Stuart, I had no idea. Stuart was even in the D.C. area. I knew he was there the night before, but I had no idea he was there that day.
Yet he got convicted of being there.
Yeah, ultimately he showed up after I left. He showed up at 4 o'clock or something, wicked late. He took a little selfie video, and I guess Kelly Meggs, in our trial they were talking about this. Kelly Meggs had come out and said, yeah, we went inside, we rescued this cop. And Stuart looked up from his phone and said, you went inside? That was stupid.
But I remember the discussion about Stuart Rhodes in that he wasn't even on site, but because there were communications back and forth with him is why he ended up getting drug into all of this, right? As the leader of the
sort of. I mean, even communications is a little weak. So a lot of this stuff they were showing, they were like, he posted this video and he said this crazy statement, but none of us were on those chats. Or if we were, it wasn't until months later. So you can't, how are you holding me responsible for this? But because conspiracy law is super vague, they manipulated everything to make it look like there was some overarching scheme. But yeah, there was
what did they charge you with? What was the charge against you?
So initially they had charged me with just obstruction, destruction of government property, conspiracy, and civil disorder. But then after the January 6th Select Committee started doing their thing, they ended up charging us also with seditious conspiracy.
Which is what is seditious conspiracy? I'm sure that you've looked it up and you probably know it inside out by now.
So a true seditious conspiracy is something like what happened in the Chaz Chop situation with Antifa. The Seditious Conspiracy Act is to declare war on the United States government. It is to unlawfully seize property or territory within the United States and then use force to deny access. It is also to overthrow the United States government. And then the part they charge us with was use any force against the government. So the last clause is very, very vague. And we didn't do the first three because we obeyed the curfew order. They couldn't get us on holding any kind of property. And obviously we didn't declare war on the government or try to overthrow the government. So they got us on use force, which was very vague. I ended up being found not guilty on that. In fact, most of the Oath Keepers in my trial were not. It was just Kelly Meggs and Stuart Rhodes that were found guilty of that. And I don't even know what the pretext is for that.
What'd you have with you that day? As a medic, were you carrying a med kit? What'd you have?
Absolutely, yeah. So I had my body armor. So we go to protest in Antifa, they'll throw bottles and rocks. They'll stab you. They'll shoot you. So Antifa is very dangerous. So I had my protective vest, and in my vest, where I usually keep magazines for my weapon, I had it just stuffed with bandages and tourniquets and King Airway, things like that. So
stuff that a normal person, if asked, medical stuff, just the usual stuff that you would carry to take care of somebody if they had been injured. Okay, and again,
I was very clearly marked. I had red crosses all over me, and I had med on the back of my helmet. I was very clearly marked as a medic.
Okay. As you said, because you knew, did you know Antifa was there? Did you know that these other groups were present?
We had heard rumors, so we had circulated in our chat. Antifa said they were going to come dressed like Trump supporters. They were going to wear baseball hats, or Trump hats, MAGA hats backwards, and wear camouflage shorts. And that was kind of like their uniform, I guess. But
and they did do that, right?
they did do that. In fact, that pepper spray attack, everybody who pulled it out, they had like a whistle, and they blew a whistle, and everybody with these hats turned backwards all pulled the same brand of mace out and started spraying the cops with it. And like, it was like an instant thing. And they were all wearing hats backwards, camouflage shorts. And one person had one of those Guy Fawkes, like V for Vendetta masks. You know what I'm talking about? Like, he was in on it. And I'm like, this guy is clearly Antifa. Like, no Trump supporter shows up dressed like that.
No, exactly. And so that was in the, did you see texts that had that? Did you see that, that sort of communication? So that's amazing. Cause of course, this is the first time I'm hearing that. I've never seen that reported, in the press because, well, we all know why, because they were trying to dress this up as, to go with the narrative. So you're there, you're as a medic, you are aware that there are these other groups that are probably going to be causing some problems. So you've worn protective gear. You go into the Capitol at that point. So you're in there, and at what point do you see things going south?
So one of the protesters, one of the first things I did in there is I just started checking out paintings and talking to people. And somebody said they had thrown some flashbangs and shot people with pepper balls. I was like, okay, that's crazy. And then I walked down a hallway briefly, and somebody was breaking glass. And I made them stop. I screamed out. I'm like, hey, if you're going to F this place up, I'm going to F you up. Stop, and they took off and they run. They bolted. And then I was like, okay, cool. And I walked back in the rotunda, and then I heard 3 bangs. It sounded like flashbangs or something. And so that's when I kind of realized, like, oh man, like, stuff is kind of going down. But everything was peaceful. Everybody kind of cheered after those bangs went off. Everybody was just like, yeah. And I was like, okay.
Right.
And then so when we walked down the hallway, everything was like peaceful and happy up until that point. Everybody was waving flags and hugging and singing glory, glory, hallelujah. And then we went down this hallway, and everybody, like, the tone had shifted. So people were chanting, F McConnell and all this stuff like that. And that's when I kind of got swept up in the protest. I do believe the 2020 election was rigged. So, like, I kind of got swept up in the hype of that.
And the excitement of that. But were you there? Did all of this take place before Ashley Babbitt was shot? And were you even around any area where that happened?
I was in the rotunda when she was shot. So that happened at 2:43. She was shot, and I was in the rotunda at the time.
How close in relation to where she was were you?
Far enough.
So you're a completely different
She was
area.
down on the house side, and I don't know how far deep. I never went that way, so I don't know how far deep that goes.
Gotcha.
Okay,
gotcha.
All right. We have to do an odd thing here on the program, and then I want to talk to you because we haven't obviously touched on the what I want to get to concerning your incarceration. But we have to what we call here on the Daily Mojo, we have to create the whole for our commercials. So we're going to do that, and when we come back, we're going to talk again with Jessica Watkins, who was a January 6th hostage, and I think Jessica is going to be amazed at how small this hole really is here, because you will. I mean, just watch this; you'll be amazed.
Where political correctness comes to die. The Daily Mojo.
And indeed, we are back.
Yeah, that's how short it was.
It's a little behind the scenes baseball. Just a real quick check in with the people over on the Rumble. Missy 13 says the FBI were the ones who arranged this. Not My Dog says the night before, YouTubers were warning on the hat backwards thing. They were told by local police. Let's see here. Dark Media Patriot Act is nothing but and should be repealed, because that's what we were. People that love the country, that people like you, Jessica, who went into the service after 9/11, and back in that time frame, we were all patriots. We wanted the Patriot Act. Yeah, that's great because, we all believe W. And, we're going to be able to, spy on people, the bad guys. We didn't realize that they were effing us all and they were going to turn all of this around on us. And that's exactly what happened with the Patriot Act. We've been the frogs in the water that's been warming up slowly for the past 20 years now. I think we're probably really close to that full boil. So again, you were at the Capitol on January 6th. Let me ask you about the broken windows, the iconic breaking of the windows. There was the one guy with a 2x4 smashing them in. Did you see him?
No, all that was on the West Terrace, so I didn't see that.
Okay. All right. But there were more than that, just that set of windows being broken?
This was a window inside the Capitol building.
Okay.
Now
so you start seeing
or something.
So for reference, Jessica, the West Terrace is the terrace that the inaugurations are held on, correct?
Correct. Yeah, and they built the inaugural stage and everything out there.
Yeah. So that's the one that faces the reflecting pool in the mall.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Just so everybody's got the same.
And that's where the Capitol Police were lobbing the flashbangs and I guess the gas grenades too, but they were launching them into the crowd to drive that crowd, partially at least, back toward the building, back toward the Capitol, right?
So I've watched a lot of the Capitol footage from over there. Part of our discovery was to look at all that. And the wind was blowing directly in their faces, so they kept chucking tear gas grenades for no reason. Like they had them. They're like, okay, cool, I'm gonna use this thing, and you can hear them on their body cameras, just like laughing and bragging about it. So they would throw it, but then none of them had gas masks. So as soon as they throw it, like you could see, like the wind would just blow it right back in their faces. And then that's what made the police line collapse. Was the cops tear gassed themselves. Like ultimately, one of the sergeants threw a tear gas grenade against orders. Like the incident commander his last name was Glover. And he said, "What is that? A triple chaser? Don't throw that." And he was like, "Okay." And 60 seconds later, he threw it anyway. And that's what ultimately made the police line collapse over there. So as soon as that happened, the police fell back and everybody's kind of walked right up to the building.
Jessica, we interviewed Jeff McKellop a week or two ago, and he was on the West Side. And his big statement was there was no planning. They didn't, and this is the DC cops in the metro. They had no planning. They didn't know what they were doing. They were running around like chickens with their head cut off, and they were pepper spraying themselves. And so it just created this complete havoc over there, which caused a lot of the problems that we saw on that day.
100%, yeah. And if you look at the videos, you can see the flags are fully stretched out, like the wind is blowing really, really hard. So as soon as they'd fire that stuff, it came right back on them.
All right. So at the day goes on. Were you arrested that day? When did what happened for the remainder of that day?
No, after the hallway, the cops pepper sprayed everyone and we ran. As soon as the cops fired the pepper spray, we were out of there. So I ran back in the rotunda and I started grabbing people who were injured in that, and I dragged a man out of the Capitol building. One of my co-defendants actually, and then we set up a triage outside the Capitol with some riot police right there. So we started treating patients. Immediately jumped in. People started bringing us stuff, and they said medic. One guy was passing out, so I threw him on my shoulders and I dragged him over to some ambulances to get him some help, and all on camera. And then we left. And then on the way out of the area, some Metropolitan Police stopped us and they said, "Hey, why are you dressed this way?" And so we showed them our credentials and everything. And they asked us, if we have any weapons. We let them do a pat down of us, and they checked us out and they said, "Oh, no, you're good. Thank you for your information." And I gave them a little fist bump and I said, "God bless you. Thank you for everything you do." And then we went back towards our vehicle. For whatever reason, Capitol Police funneled all the Trump supporters into Black Lives Matter Plaza, which was really bizarre. And so there was an altercation there where a Trump supporter was walking. A bunch of BLM people ran out and just started punching them. And so me and my co-defendants, we rushed and we like protected the guy and said, hey, get out of here. Stop doing this. And so they ran. And so we helped that guy and we went back to our vehicles and that was it. I didn't get arrested till 11 days later.
How'd that happen? So you're at home, you've been probably watching the news, right?
Well, at first I was freaked out because as soon as I got back to my hotel, I was like, we did it, guys. We stood up for America. And so I turned on the news and I'm like, ooh, this is not good. And so then, I don't know, I was a little freaked out on the next day, but when they started releasing who they were going after, they were going for people who attacked police and committed vandalism. I'm like, hey, that's not us. We don't have anything to worry about. Kelly Meggs rescued a police officer. Him, Kenny Harrelson, Joseph Hackett, Connie Meggs. They rescued Officer Harry Dunn. So they were like, yeah, well, we rescued a cop, so we're good. And I was like, yeah, I was stopping vandalism and helping hurt people. So they were like, just relax. Everything's fine. We don't have to worry about this. But, I was online talking about it. I was on social media telling people like, yeah, what we did.
Right.
Trying to set the record straight. But that ended up being my undoing because the sedition hunters immediately turned me in.
So the day that did they come to you? Did they call you? Did they say, "Hey, can you come in for a chat?" What? How did your apprehension occur?
So the media showed up first. There was a huge media thing where they were just beating down the doors of every neighbor, and they were harassing my mom, and they were just harassing everyone. So one of my co-defendants was like, "Hey, you can come stay with us." So we went out there, and I said, "Okay." I left all my equipment, all my guns, everything, my phone with all the passwords and everything. I said, "Okay, if law enforcement comes and they want anything, just give them this stuff. Tell them I'll be back, and I'll turn myself in or whatever." And so I went, and I was gone for like 4 days. And eventually, the media slowed down, but then the raid happened, and the FBI sent a joint terrorism task force to my home. I wasn't there, so obviously they didn't get who they were looking for, but they threw flashbangs and everything. They shut out the windows of my house and everything. Like they drones and threw flashbang at my dog. Like she's a little 8-pound Yorkie and she was in her cage, threw a flashbang at her. And then when I found out about it, I was in Virginia at the time, and this was all happening in Ohio. So I came back. I was like an 8-10 hour drive. Came back to Ohio and turned myself in, and I was locked up ever since that day.
So you turn yourself in. They immediately. So you turned yourself in Ohio. At a federal building in Ohio?
No, I went to a sheriff's department initially, and nobody was there. And then I went to the Urbana Police Department. Which is Urbana in Champaign, Ohio. And so I turned myself in there and I said, "Hey, listen, this raid just happened." They're like, "Okay." And I said, "I'm just here to turn myself in. Clearly the feds want me." And so she looked me up. She said, "Well, I don't see anything in our system. You can go." And I was like, "I don't think you understand. They shut out the windows of my house and stuff. They showed up with tanks and rifles. They want me. Like, I'm here." And so she ended up calling the FBI field office and they said, "Okay, yeah, hold her. We're coming." And,
Did the cop's demeanor change after she spoke with the FBI or whoever? Did she say, "All right"? Did she put you in handcuffs? What happened?
No, she was really cool. Like we just sat there and talked, and she was really nice, very professional.
And then the
no
FBI.
problem.
Okay, then the FBI shows up that same day.
Yep, it was probably 2 hours.
How were they?
Later.
How were they
cold. That was the first time I was ever handcuffed. They were cold. They were like, "Hey, we want you to give us a statement." I said, "I don't have an attorney or anything. I don't think that's a good idea. I'll talk to you when I get an attorney." And they said, "Okay." And so then they handcuffed me and they separated me from my co-defendant. We both turned ourselves in at the same time. And and then they booked us. They booked us in Montgomery County Jail in Dayton, Ohio.
How long before you ended up in the DC gulag?
So they extradited me. They sent me from Montgomery to Butler County. Butler County, I was pretty badly mistreated. I had a broken arm on January 6th. I had broken arm and broken ribs, and they threw me in this room with no bed, no nothing. It was literally just a concrete box with a toilet. And they left me in there. I had an arm brace. They took all of that away. And so I had nothing. So I curled up on the floor on this like tray. And I was in agony because I have broken arm, broken ribs. And so I told them, hey, listen, if you don't fix my arm, I'm going to go on a hunger strike till you fix my arm. And so then they stripped me naked and they threw me in this like glass booth in the intake lobby. And I was in there for 4 days with the lights on 24/7. 4 days just crying naked in this cell. Jeez. And people walking by and staring at me because this is right where they bring every prisoner in and book them into the jail. And I'm like in this glass booth there, and I just kind of curled under this little mat that they give you, and I just curled up under that and then they kept coming in. Why were you at January 6th? Who were you with? And I was just like, I don't know, man. Like I was just there to help people. And
all right, this is probably a good time to bring in that you are a transgender female.
Correct.
So, and as soon as you said they stripped me naked, were they aware of that? Did they say anything about that? Did you have to say something to them? Well, let me ask you that. How long have you been transgender?
I transitioned 22 years ago.
22 years. Okay, so you. Yeah. All right. It's been a while. Been a hot minute.
It's been a while. Yeah, I changed my name legally in 2005, and I had surgery in 2007.
Okay. So they strip you naked. So you're naked the whole time that you're in this cell?
Those 4 days, yes.
That does not seem like SOP. I mean, did they do that to everybody?
They said I was on suicide watch because I said I was going to go on hunger strike. And I literally they give us baby carrots. So I was literally chewing up baby carrots into little pieces and writing, I'm not suicidal on the floor for the camera because there was a camera up there. And then the sheriffs would come in, they'd kick the carrots, and I'd just go back and I'd rewrite it on the floor, said, I'm not suicidal. And every time they come in, I'm like, dude, I'm not suicidal. I don't want to die. I want to go get this over with because I didn't even do anything, I'm not going to be in prison forever, this is stupid. I honestly, at that point, I thought, as soon as they pull the cameras and as soon as they see the footage of what it is that I did, they're not going to do anything to me.
At this point, do you have to take medications or hormones or anything like that on a daily basis?
Yes.
Not to get too personal, but I mean, all right. So at this point,
I'll be on
that you didn't expect. Okay. You didn't expect to be, obviously, when you were taken into custody, you didn't think that you were staying in jail for what ended up being how long?
4 years, 3 days.
All right. So when you went in, you did not think that you were going to jail for 4 years and 3 days. So you weren't really, and correct me if I'm wrong, you didn't bring along a 4-year supply of anything that you would need. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, you can't really take anything with you anyway. But no, when I kissed my husband before I left, I said, hey, I'll see you in a few weeks. I literally thought this was going to be over in a few weeks.
Did they give you your medication, Jessica? That's, I guess, the question.
No.
Yeah.
It took them a very long time for that to happen. It wasn't until I got to the DC jail. And the DC jail gave me a hard time about it. They actually booked me in the men's side with the other January 6th, the guys. And I had to fight to get on it. And Judge Maida, my judge, actually had to get involved and help me with. And as soon as my judge heard about it, I have a very liberal judge, so that was something he was very helpful with. So eventually I did get back on my medication.
You confused the hell out of them, didn't you? Because you're there, you're supporting. I mean, you're trying to you're be a patriot and you're transgender, and those two things didn't necessarily go together for them. So you had them all wrapped up in the head.
Well, I don't do identity politics. I don't really discuss that sort of thing. My in-laws, my customers at the bar, my friends, everybody found out I was trans from CNN. After my arrest, they made a big deal about it.
Which is ludicrous.
Did you? Well, yeah. Did you? I mean, so did they you said they put you in the men's side. Did you have to say something when they arrested you? Did you have to tell, say, look, I'm transgender? You did.
I did. In fact, that's what initially when I got booked in the Montgomery County Jail, I was booked with the women, and then I told them like, "Hey, here's the situation," and so then they moved me.
Why? Just out of curiosity, why did you tell them? Why did you say because you needed medication or
that? And the intake, when they started doing the intake, the psychiatrist was talking to me, psychologist, whatever. And they one of the questions they ask you is, are you a veteran? I said, yeah. They're like, okay, what branch do you serve? I went and gave them kind of my history, and they're like, okay, what was your job? I said, well, I was infantry. I was, a soldier. And they're like, did you see combat? I said, yes. In Afghanistan. He's like, that's really unusual. Like, and so I had to explain to him, like, well, I've had a switch.
Gotcha. Okay. Right. I'm with you. All right. So once you're in the, they put you in the, in the women's. Let's see. They first put you in the women's, then they switch you to the men's. Did I get that right?
Correct.
Were you there in the men's jail for the rest of the time? How did that all shake down?
No, I kept fighting it. I said, listen, I don't belong here. So they sent me forward. So Muriel Bowser, she's the mayor of DC. Muriel Bowser has like a transgender executive council or whatever, where they determine where they're going to house you. And so, like I said, no, I love the guys. I love the J6 guys, but I made this switch. I need to go where I belong. And so they're like, well, we don't think we need to be mixing insurrectionists with the women and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm not an insurrectionist. Like, you can't make that decision. At this point, I hadn't even been to trial, so I'm innocent until proven guilty anyway. But
except all the Jan Sixers, Jessica. Except all the Jan Sixers were guilty. Yeah, just stupid.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
This used to be America. All right. So so say that again. They couldn't. What she said. They couldn't put insurrectionists in with the women. Is that what you said? She said.
Correct.
Okay.
But I kept fighting it,
anyway.
And then I get over there. I got on the women's side, and there was 2 J6 women and trans women. They just selectively chose me and said, "No, screw you." Like, God. You're going.
Wow,
here.
Y'all you really messed them up there. They're like, wait a second, you guys should not be here. This is not the way this whole story goes. So once you're in there, you ended up long term. You were in which side, men's or women's?
So I was there on the men's side until April or May of 2022. So about a year and a half. Closer to a year and a half with the men, and then I moved over to the women's side.
Jessica, how was that? How were you treated?
Yeah. How were you treated there?
When I moved to women's Gen Pop, I was treated really honestly pretty well. There was a couple inmates that gave me problems. One girl just kept spitting on me. She was spitting on the other J6 girl too.
I'd have whooped her ass right off the bat.
Well,
just using tools that you knew you already had, I'd have whooped her ass right off the bat.
Well, that's what they say you do when you get to prison. You find the biggest, baddest, man or woman, and you beat the shit out of them. And then from then on, they respect you. So how did you respond to that, to the spitting?
I wrote it up. I reported it, and they dealt with it. Yeah.
You're a much better person than I am.
I'm not the kind of person. I'm not very confrontational like that. I'm just gonna go punch you in the face I'm just gonna report it, and all the girls were like, yeah, that's messed up. So they didn't even care. You can't snitch in prison, right? You're not allowed to snitch, but something like that, they're like, no, you got to get tested. You got to report that because you don't know what this girl's got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
And she was like a prostitute back, so you don't know what. Yeah, I had to go get tested.
Was she like Big Bertha? Was she like looking mean, or was she, petite little flower? I mean,
yeah, she was not
she scary looking.
Yeah, like one eye going this way, one eye going this way. Yeah.
We know a few of those,
right? Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Jessica, how were you treated on the men's side for the year and a half you were over there?
I mean, they treated me with complete and total respect. I mean,
Good.
The guards
Good.
and stuff would use the wrong pronouns, but like all the J6 guys would be like, "Hey, stop, leave her alone." You know, like
Good.
the J6 guys were amazing. That's where I met Jeff McKellop and
Yeah.
Guy Reffitt and a bunch of them. So
Good.
Yeah. I love the guys to death.
And that's what Jeff was saying, is that they were the guards were racist toward him, that they were,
they were
disrespectful.
very
So were they racist toward you? Was it just hateful transgender slurs? What did they say?
All of that. I mean, they would. I don't know what all I can say on this program, but they would.
Whatever
they
you
had
want.
slurs. They had racial. I mean, they call honkies, crackers, Trump mother effers. And then they'd single me out. They'd throw me in a holding facility, and they'd be like, Jessica's a man. Like, I'm like, what is this relevant to anything? Why would you say something like that? Like, just being cruel, like calling me out in front of like a whole bunch of like non-J6 inmates. Like. Why is that relevant to any discussion? Like, why are you just trying to humiliate me?
Did that make you mad? Were you scared? How'd you feel?
Honestly, like, I don't know. I just cried a lot, really, if I'm going to be honest with you. It was very emotional. Like, it was very emotionally. I mean, because I've been through so much in my life. I struggle with depression and anxiety and things.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a lot of PTSD. So I don't know. I just
depression sucks, does it not?
Yeah.
Depression is awful. I'm with you, and it's unexplainable to people that don't have it. There's no way to explain it to them, and it doesn't matter who or what you are. It's a horrible, because it's like your brain is you're fighting with your own brain.
Yeah,
and it's awful.
Now,
Jessica, especially once I got charged with seditious conspiracy too. The seditious, like, I cried until like my eyes were like blood. I cried so hard, and then they were like, "It's okay, you're gonna be fine." I was like, "You don't understand. They're calling me a traitor. Like, I love my country, and like all these people are just coming after me."
That would have pissed me off too.
Oh yeah,
I hate being accused of something I didn't do.
On the outside, that's what we were being told, of course. And then we all started doing our research, and we're like, no, that's not what happened at all. It took us a little while before we all started ramping up and going, no, hell no, that's not what was happening. I mean, people like David Summerall writing the American Gulag, or I can't remember who wrote the American Gulag Chronicles. What was that guy's name? I can't remember, but
Tim Rivers, maybe.
Tim Rivers, thank you. And all of these people were coming out. Of course, Don and Don over at Cowboy Logic were interviewing everybody, and we're getting the real story, right? And we're all going, wait a minute. And we're all finding out, this is the thing that pissed me and Brad off the most, is that they were not allowing things as part of the trials that we knew would have shown your innocence in what you were doing at certain aspects of things. The majority
100%.
of people, right? The majority of people. We do know that there were people committing violence there. We know that for a fact. But there were, I mean, showing videos of certain J6ers helping cops, but yet not playing the audio, so it looked like they weren't necessarily helping the cops, and keeping that stuff out. Now, you made a comment in your trial about Judge Mehta being and I don't remember the exact quote, but a decent arbiter for your particular case. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I believe that at first.
Before you do, Jessica, hold that thought, because Ron, I have to make a small hole here.
Gotcha.
No pun
Sorry.
intended.
Yep.
And we'll hear from Jessica on the other side of this.
The Daily MoJo.
We do things a little differently here at the Daily MoJo. It's not for everybody either.
That's correct.
But we're talking with Jessica Watkins, who was a J6 hostage at the D.C. Gulag for 4 years and 3 days or 8 days?
3.
4 years and 3
days. 4 years and 3. As Chuck Woolery once said, 4 and 3. All right. So you were before we
about to talk about Judge Mehta. Yeah.
Go ahead and explain.
So I did believe at first. I defended Judge Mehta for years. because at first it seemed like he was willing to hear the defense arguments. I think once it became clear that we were going to put up a fight at trial, that changed. So I don't know. I defended him because he is a very kind person. He comes off as very gentle, very kind, very compassionate. And he did help me with my hormone situation, getting back on my medication. He also at sentencing wanted to make sure. Go ahead.
How long did they withhold that from you?
It took probably 3-4 months.
Wow.
That's again, it's reprehensible. And compound that with the fact that you were in there on what I would consider a bogus charge to begin with. That's what makes it even worse. And it was manufactured.
Yeah, the one crime I can honestly say that I can be responsible for is the civil disorder charge. But I mean, I've seen like the transurrection, and you got Cop City in Georgia. You got all these situations where Antifa, they obstruct officers all the time. They get no charges. They certainly don't get a joint terrorism SWAT raid. It should have been a ticket or 90 days in jail or something, not like sedition.
And you ended up getting a commutation, correct? You didn't get a pardon, you got a commutation?
Correct.
And do you are you good with that?
No, I'm still hoping for a pardon. I think I'm certain that President Trump's legal teams got a strategy. They're going to be going through a lot of the cases.
There were at least 14 of you that got commuted, and they said we're going to be looking at these cases.
Right. And I still feel very much that they're going to be doing that. Like, I trust President Trump. I know he knows what he's doing. So. All
right. Just a couple more questions, and thank you for taking this long to speak with us. Because
sure.
Do you have when you're recounting your stories like this? Does it? It's got to be taxing on you emotionally. Would you rather just forget about the whole thing, or do you feel like you need to tell as many people as possible what happened?
I need to tell as many people as possible. And because I'm very passionate about like BOP reform, the way that the inmates are Americans, right? They may have committed a crime. A lot of them have been badly mistreated by the system. A lot of people have been railroaded. One of the people I know went to prison for plywood, and she was facing 4 years for plywood. What does
that mean?
What does that mean for plywood?
She was importing plywood somehow, and somehow she violated some import law. She wasn't aware of it, but whatever law it was, like they manipulated it and they wanted to make an example out of her. So, instances like that are terrible, and like the way the conditions are awful in there. And so, as much as I'd love to put all this behind me, I've got a lot of work ahead of me.
Is that? It sounds to me like you're going to take that on as a mission. Is that correct?
100%. 100%. I after seeing what I've seen and experiencing what I've experienced, I can't turn my back on it.
I can only imagine. When you were in there, were you aware? How much media did you get to see while you were in the prison?
None.
So you had no idea whether people were on your side or?
Yeah, I did an interview with Don and Donna when I was in the DC Gulag. Once I went to prison, I cut off all media connections. I was talking with Steve Baker, cut off talking with him because he got indicted for January 6th.
Right.
So I stopped talking to people in the BOP because it's against policy. I didn't want to get thrown in the hole.
Wow. So you were in the blind. You had no idea whether people were whether public sentiment was with you or against you, or what the hell was going on out here.
Well, I listened to Glenn Beck every day and Mark Levin and Clay and Buck. I had a radio station, WFLA. I listened to every day.
Okay.
So I was
kind
of plugged in.
So you had some. Oh, good. All right, good. Because we were on your side out here. We were, and one of the things that Ron and I would especially talk about is the fact that, you know, if we were ever in jail, especially wrongly, we would want to think that there were people on the outside who would at least be trying to figure out what the hell we were, you know, how we were being treated, and how they could get us out. So we're just glad that you are out and that you have shared your story. Anytime you need an outlet, the door is wide open here.
We are here.
Yeah, we will. You just if you just want to shoot the shit, feel free to join us here. We're glad to do that.
It. I'm actually very passionate about the trans issue as well. The whole agenda, the trans agenda, is just crazy to me. I'm against all the grooming in the schools, and I'm very much for protecting women's and girls' sports. So a lot of what the conservative movement is doing in the trans agenda is positive. So
right.
I know that's going to take a lot of heat. As soon as I say that, you know, the media is going to pounce on it and say she's anti-trans and look at all she's been through. And I'm not. I'm very pro-trans.
It'll be the liberal media.
I like trans people. Yep. I don't like trans agenda. So.
Right. And like we always say here, I would never F with it, especially a trans woman, because if you're willing to have things cut off, you are willing to go take it to the mat. And like you, I have respect. And you know what? If you're 18, you do whatever the hell you want. We don't care. We do not care what a grown human does. That's up to you. But we want your rights protected, your human rights, just like anybody else. So again, You're welcome here anytime, Jessica.
I appreciate it, sir. Thank you so much.
You bet. And don't ever call me sir. Jessica Watkins, again, a freed January 6th hostage. We will talk to you soon. Be well.
Wow.
Yeah. What a story.
What a fantastic story. But we're hearing this from a lot of the Jan 6ers in that it was mistreatment. It was the liberal media trying to make, or the liberals, the Biden administration specifically, trying to make an example out of these people where they didn't do that for the Chaz Chop BLM group.
Right.
What's the difference? I can tell you what the difference is. Conservative versus liberalism.
Dark Magneto just gave us another tip. Thank you. Cool interview, guys. Should have gotten a full pardon.
I agree.
Yeah, and they're probably looking into it, and that's just it. If Jessica again is a self-admitted, what's the headline?
Idiot.
Self-proclaimed idiot, and she said that what she did. You heard her. I'm not going to try to get the verbiage right, but going in there and that they were doomed as soon as they showed up.
Yep.
This narrative was pre-written by and pre-planned by the whole Pelosi crew. They knew exactly how they were going to record this or attempt to record it in the history books. And credit where credit is due, they did a hell of a job in concert with the mainstream media to try and record this as an insurrection, quote unquote. And it's going to take us a long time to make sure that the truth actually gets out there and that we see what this was. Because again, there were a lot of not implanted, but yeah, what do you call it? There were people in there who were not Trump supporters,
correct?
Who were wearing disguises, and we all know that. And it's and people who insist on calling it an insurrection, they're idiots, and they're the real idiots, and you can't help stupid.
What do you mean it's last call?
Or buttons that don't work.
Sorry.
That right there is
I was busy.
2 hours of audio deliciousness known as the Daily. You're flustered, Ron. Admit it,
I was a little bit flustered. Yep.
Daily Mojo for today. This is Monday, February 3rd, the year of our Lord 2025. And let's find out what the crowd is saying and what they learned out there. Sir Rat Bastard over in the Rumble chat room said should have been dismissed with prejudice. The original babe, and this is America. Shame. This is not okay. And that was what we always said, is that you don't, regardless of what they did, there were people There are people out there who killed people that didn't get treated as badly as these people there at January 6th. Wisconsin Jackhole says, Jessica's a jackhole. Yep.
Jessica's a jackhole. Welcome to the family.
Dr. Free Range Prisoner, I wonder when Jessica was picking out the new furniture before the surgery, did she select a nice book rack? I don't know. I've not seen Jessica full on out. Let's see. Let's be frank. Seditious conspiracy is what the riot supporters who placed pallets of bricks at strategic locations in protest cities did, not what the J6 protesters did. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. That was the real crime. DMXDM. Oh, that was on the Schumer thing. Everybody was apparently rapt watching the interview. They weren't very active over on the X, or I have a setting set wrong. Audrey says, I work with a lot of trans people, and they don't support the agenda either.
That's the only thing. That's the only thing is the agenda and the grooming that crawls under my skin. I don't care what you do. As you're an adult, I don't care what you do. I don't.
That's the radical leftist activists.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and again, I wasn't kidding when I asked if Jessica maybe knew Robin. I mean,
I couldn't think of Robin's last name, but you're right. There weren't that many male Rangers that have transitioned. So
exactly.
You know,
So I would think that's kind of a tight-knit group. Pun intended.
Yep.
Lisa Tett says, bye-bye, boys and girls. Yeah. And Freebie38, here's your daily reminder, Ron. Try to be less gay, and if you're hired to do a job, be good at it. No homo. As for the rest of you, remember that we the people must hang together, otherwise we shall surely hang separately. 6 temperature and resist stupid. Good night, Doc Thompson.
Wherever you are, see you tomorrow.
Watch and listen at thedailymojo.com.